Hey guys, welcome back to The New Critic, and today we're going to be looking at Season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead. So this is the season where everything kind of changed for Fear the Walking Dead. It's no longer a prequel to The Walking Dead, as it now takes place in the present, after a time jump. Morgan from the main show is now on this show, making it the first ever crossover in the Walking Dead universe. Now, if you're caught up on every season of Fear the Walking Dead leading up to this one, you're probably wondering, why did they do this? You know, Season 3 ended on a big cliffhanger. Why did they just ignore it with a time jump? What was the point of it? Well, the main reason is declining ratings. You see, back in Season 1, there were about 7 to 8 million viewers per episode, and then ratings declined from that point onwards because we weren't going to find out how the outbreak first started. And considering none of these characters made their way into the main show, and they were just going through the same experiences, a lot of people felt like it wasn't necessary to watch this show as well. And even though the season started with 10 million viewers, it ended with about 6 to 7. Season 2 had about 6 at the beginning, and then it ended with only 3 million viewers. Season 3 began with 3 million and then dropped to 2 million, so the show is at great risk of being cancelled. Now, you're also probably wondering what Morgan is doing on this show. Why can't he just have his own spin-off or something like that if they plan to keep him in this franchise? Keep in mind that the showrunners for this season were Andrew Chambers and Ian Goldberg, and their track record with the show has been kind of erratic. There's some good things they've done with Season 4 and 5, but there's also a lot of bad things. But don't worry, Season 6 has been a masterpiece compared to those two. They were aided by another executive producer who just had to be on the show, because why not? And I'm sure they must have had like a pitch meeting or something like that, and things probably went down kind of like this. So Ian, yes Andrew? Season 3 ended on a pretty big cliffhanger, so what are we gonna do? Well, that's easy. We just follow it up. Okay, but how? Ooh. Who said that? Yeah, what was that? I am the ghost of the greatest showrunner in television history. Got Simple. Got Simple? Now why does that sound familiar? No, it doesn't. There's no one quite like Got Simple. Okay, so are you here to help us? Yes I am. Word of advice from me. You bring Morgan onto Fear the Walking Dead. Do a time jump so that we don't have to go back and explain parts of his character arc that weren't covered on the main show, so that we can do whatever we want with him. Oh, and don't forget the time jump. Yeah, but wouldn't that defeat the purpose of even having a cliffhanger at the end of Season 3, if we're not going to explore it? Look, if we don't find some way to save Fear the Walking Dead from being cancelled, then it is more than likely going to be cancelled, and you wouldn't want that now, would you? No, not really. Good, now you're beginning to understand. Fear the Walking Dead cannot be cancelled, and Morgan needs to stay because there's more we want to do with him. So, we have to come to a compromise. Agreed? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that would be fine. Just one more question, though. Are you really Got Simple? Allow me to reveal myself if you're so curious. Oh no, what have we done? Scott Gimple, you. Look, guys, I don't have to want to fire you both on behalf of the AMC network. So if you want to come back for Season 5, and maybe even Season 6 if we're lucky enough to have a 6th season, you do as I say. Agreed? Agreed. Mr. Scott M. Gimple? Yeah, Scott M. Gimple. Oh, you mean Scott Motherfucker. So yeah, about Scott Gimple. Just when you think he's done ruining a show, he jumps into another show and does the same thing. And I know we haven't gotten into the pros and cons yet, but that's because I just needed to get this out of the way first. So where do I stand on this season? I think it's good, but it was kind of disappointing. and that's mainly due to the decisions made by the showrunners in order to give the show somewhat of a soft reboot kind of treatment, rebooting the show while it's still going. I think that was a big mistake. While there are some aspects that I definitely hate, I don't think this season is completely without merit. So let's get into the pros and cons. Finally. So this season has the characters going around and helping people looking for survivors rather than just surviving themselves. While this is something that a lot of fans don't like, I actually didn't mind this idea. It's good for a change. The characters are also in this new sanctuary, which is essentially a baseball stadium. It's pretty big and it looks really cool. This season plays around with its structure quite a bit. The first episode takes place in the present, and the rest of the first half, which is the next 7 episodes, switches back and forth between the past and the present. They've also changed up the color grading for this season. Fear the Walking Dead's color grading was mostly orange, or something of an orangey nature, and this season has green filters, grey filters, and I think in one scene it had like an orange filter, but these filters looked pretty cool. Aside from just bringing in Morgan from the main show, there's also a bunch of new characters in this season. There's John Dory, who's a former cop, and he will quickly become one of your absolute favorites. From the very first episode, you'll want to see more of him. There's also Althea, who's played by Maggie Grace from the Taken series, and she carries around this giant camera and she records videos of people that she finds and interviews them about their experiences, who they are, where they're from. And a lot of fans found this to be kind of annoying, but I actually liked it. There's June, who's a former medic. There's 2 major villains in the season. The first one is Mel and his gang, the Vultures, but we'll actually talk about them in the cons because I didn't really like them. Then there's Martha, this woman who believes that people who believe they can save others during this time are weak, because she believes that no one can truly be saved in the apocalypse. And a flashback reveals her motives for having this ideology, and it also explains why she went insane in the process. The show also has a new title sequence, and each episode changes it up a little bit while maintaining the same music and layout. Now this season has a couple of issues. Firstly, the villains that I mentioned earlier, Mel and the Vultures, they were kind of boring. They had no personality to them, and I'm kind of glad they weren't the villains for the entire season. Another thing is the fact that the second half is almost a carbon copy of the second half of season 4 from The Walking Dead, and it's incredibly boring at times, and even the finale is not that exciting. But the biggest problem I have is the lengths that the showrunners went to in order to accommodate Morgan. The time jump, I think, was a huge mistake, and as a result, having the show set in the present now kind of took away some of its identity. I get that from a marketing perspective, these Survival Sunday events actually sounded pretty cool. We have Morgan transitioning from the end of Season 8 of The Walking Dead to the beginning of Season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, and both of these episodes would premiere on the same nights. It did boost Fear the Walking Dead's ratings, but even then that's not saying much, as they declined immediately afterwards. Also, bringing in Morgan, changing so many stylistic elements of the show, and bringing in so many other new characters made me wonder, why couldn't they just give Morgan his own show? And as a result, the fates of some characters will definitely piss you off, especially if you've been invested in the show from day one. And that's the weird thing about the show as well, is that it's kind of stuck in a Force Awakens versus Last Jedi scenario, where, the more you liked The Force Awakens, the the less you probably liked The Last Jedi and vice versa. But enough about Star Wars. Case in point, the more you like the first 3 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, the less you'll like this new season, and vice versa. So yeah, that was my review of Season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead. I do enjoy this season, but it still made a lot of mistakes. So next time we're going to be looking at Season 9 of The Walking Dead. So thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like the video, share it and subscribe, and hit the notification icon. Be safe during this time, and I'll see you soon.